Hello and welcome to Read and Learn English. Have you ever looked at someone and judged them in just a few seconds? Or have you ever felt judged yourself before even speaking a word? Today's story will help you understand how appearance can be misleading, and it will also help you improve your English listening and vocabulary in a natural and emotional way. My name is Sanal, and I am 26 years old. I live in a busy city, and I work in a small fashion-related company. People often say I am beautiful. I hear it almost every day. At first, it made me happy. I liked the attention. I liked the compliments. I liked how people looked at me when I entered a room. Over time, I started believing something simple but dangerous. I started believing that appearance is everything. I always tried to look perfect. My clothes had to be clean and stylish. My hair had to be perfect. Even my expression in the mirror had to look right. I spent a lot of time on how I looked because I felt that it defined who I was. And slowly, without noticing, I started looking at other people in the same way. If someone was not dressed well, I would lose interest in them. If someone did not look polished, I would think they were not important. I never said it out loud, but inside my mind, I was always judging. My world became small, but perfect on the surface. I surrounded myself with people who also cared about appearance. We talked about clothes, beauty, lifestyle, and image. Everything was about how things looked, not how they felt inside. I thought this was normal. I thought this was success. But I was wrong. One day, something happened that slowly started to break this belief. It was a quiet weekend, and I had some free time. My mother asked me to visit my grandmother. She lived in a small town far from the city. I did not go often, because her life was very simple and different from mine. But that day, I decided to go. The journey was long. As I left the busy city behind, everything started to change. Tall buildings slowly disappeared. Shops became smaller. Roads became quieter. The air felt different, softer somehow. When I finally reached her house, it was like stepping into another world. My grandmother's home was small and old, but warm. There were simple wooden chairs, soft sunlight through thin curtains, and the smell of home-cooked food. She smiled when she saw me. "Ah, Sonal," she said gently. "You finally came." I smiled back, but inside, I already felt a little uncomfortable. This place was so different from my life in the city. After we talked for a while, she asked me to come to her room. She wanted to show me something. Her room was simple, nothing fancy. Just a bed, a small table, and an old mirror on the wall. The mirror caught my attention immediately. It looked different from the mirrors I was used to. It was slightly worn. The edges were not perfect. The glass had small marks, like it had seen many years of life. My grandmother noticed me looking at it and said softly, "This mirror has been here for a long time." I smiled politely and stood in front of it. At first, I just saw my reflection like normal. My face, my hair, my clothes. But then something strange happened. I don't know how to explain it clearly, but I felt uncomfortable. It was like the mirror was not only showing my face, it was showing something deeper, something I could not easily ignore. I stood there, staring at myself, but my mind suddenly felt heavy. And for the first time in my life, I felt like the mirror was about to show me something I was not ready to see. I stood in front of the old mirror for a long time. At first, I tried to ignore the strange feeling. I told myself it was just my imagination. A mirror is just a mirror. It only shows what is in front of it. Nothing more. But I could not relax. Something about it felt different. When I looked at my reflection, I still saw myself clearly. My face looked the same. My hair was perfect as always. My clothes looked neat. But my mind felt disturbed. It was like the mirror was not only showing my appearance, but also reminding me of something I did not want to face. I moved a little closer, and in that moment, I felt something strange again. It was not a sound, not a vision. It was a feeling, a memory. I suddenly remembered a moment from a few weeks ago. I was in a cafe in the city. A young girl working there had dropped a tray of drinks. It was an accident. She looked nervous and scared. Everyone was watching her. And me. I remember clearly. I looked at her and felt irritated. She should be more careful, I thought. I did not help. I did not smile. I just looked away. Now, standing in front of the mirror, that memory felt heavier than before. I stepped back quickly. My heart was beating faster. I told myself again, "This is ridiculous. It's just an old mirror." But then something worse happened. The next memory came without warning. I saw myself at a shopping mall. A woman was asking for directions. She was not dressed well, and she looked confused. She spoke softly. I ignored her and walked away. At that time, I did not think much about it. But now, I felt something uncomfortable in my chest. I turned away from the mirror. I tried to shake the feeling off, but it stayed. That night, I could not sleep well. I lay in bed thinking about the mirror again and again. Why did I feel like that? Why did those memories come so clearly? The next morning, I went back to my grandmother's room. She was sitting quietly, drinking tea. She looked peaceful, like nothing in the world could disturb her. I hesitated for a moment, then asked her, "Grandmother, what is special about that mirror?" She looked at me with a soft smile, but she did not answer immediately. Instead, she said, "Did you see something you didn't like?" Her question surprised me. I paused. I did not want to admit it, but I nodded slowly. She placed her cup down and looked at me carefully. "That mirror does not show only your face," she said gently. "It shows how you are inside." I frowned. "That is impossible," I said quickly. "It's just glass." She smiled again. "Maybe," she said, "but sometimes we see ourselves more clearly when we are away from the world we know." I did not understand her words fully, but they stayed in my mind. That day, I kept thinking about my behavior. Not just the memories from the mirror, but my real life. I started noticing small things I had never cared about before. Like how I looked at people when I passed them. Like how quickly I judged someone based on their clothes or appearance. Like how I decided who was important and who was not, without even knowing them. And slowly, something uncomfortable started growing inside me. It was not anger, it was not fear, it was something deeper, a feeling I had never truly experienced before. Shame. For the first time, I did not feel proud of how I treated people. I felt heavy inside. And that night, when I stood in front of the mirror again, I did not look at my face first. I looked at myself differently. And I was not sure I liked what I was beginning to see. The next time I stood in front of the mirror, I did not feel confident anymore. I felt unsure. My usual confidence, the one I carried everywhere in the city, was missing. It felt like something inside me had started to crack, slowly and quietly. I looked at my reflection. At first, everything seemed normal again. My face, my hair, my clothes, the same Sanal everyone admired. But this time, I was not only looking at my appearance, I was looking at myself. And the mirror, in some strange way, felt like it was waiting. Waiting for me to see something I had been avoiding for a long time. I closed my eyes for a moment, and when I opened them again, another memory came, stronger this time. I saw myself at a party in the city. A girl was standing alone near the corner of the room. She was not dressed like the others. She looked shy, nervous, and out of place. I remember clearly what I did. I walked past her. I did not smile. I did not speak. I did not even look at her properly. At that time, I told myself she was not my type of person. But now, standing in front of the mirror, I felt something painful. Why did I think like that? Why did I decide her worth in just a few seconds? My chest felt tight. I stepped back from the mirror again. My breathing became uneven. And then it happened. The most powerful moment yet. I saw not just one memory, but many at once. Like pieces of my life showing themselves in flashes. People I ignored, people I judged, people I walked away from without understanding them. Each memory felt small when it happened in real life, but together, they felt heavy, very heavy. I sat down on the edge of the bed, trying to calm myself. "What is happening to me?" I whispered. I felt confused. Was it the mirror, or was it me? At that moment, my grandmother entered the room. She looked at me quietly, as if she already understood everything. "You look troubled," she said softly. I did not answer immediately. Then I finally spoke. "Grandmother, this mirror, it shows things I don't want to see." She nodded slowly. "Yes," she said, "because we usually don't look at ourselves honestly." Her words were simple, but they hit me deeply. I looked at her. "But why me? Why am I seeing this?" She walked closer and sat beside me. "Because you're ready to see it," she said. I shook my head slightly. "I don't feel ready." She smiled gently. "No one ever feels ready," she replied. "But life still shows us the truth." I stayed silent. My mind was full of thoughts. For the first time, I started questioning my own identity. Was I really just a beautiful woman with a good life? Or was there something inside me I had never looked at properly? That night, I could not sleep again. But this time, it was different. It was not just discomfort. It was realization. I kept thinking about the people I had ignored, the small judgments I made without care, the invisible distance I created between myself and others. And slowly, a painful thought formed in my mind. Maybe I was not as kind as I believed. Maybe I was not as good as I thought. The next morning, I avoided the mirror for the first time. I walked past it quickly, pretending not to see it, but I still felt it, like it was watching me, waiting, and deep inside, I knew something was about to change. Not in the mirror, but in me. And I did not know if I was ready for that change. I did not go near the mirror that morning. For the first time since I arrived at my grandmother's house, I avoided it completely. I kept myself busy with small things, helping in the kitchen, cleaning simple corners of the house, and sitting outside in the quiet sunlight. But even then, I could feel it. The mirror was in my mind, not just as an object, but as a feeling that I could not escape. At lunchtime, my grandmother called me to sit with her. We ate simple food together, nothing fancy, just warm rice, vegetables, and soup. The kind of food I used to ignore in the city because I was always chasing something better. She looked at me carefully and said, "You are quieter today." I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. I'm thinking a lot. She did not rush me. She just waited. And then I finally spoke. Grandmother, I don't like what I saw in that mirror. Her expression stayed calm. That is a good sign, she said gently. I looked at her, confused. How is that a good sign? She placed her spoon down and replied, because only a brave heart feels uncomfortable when it sees the truth. Her words stayed in my mind. A brave heart. I had never thought of myself that way before. Later that afternoon, I went back to the room. The mirror was there, just like before. Quiet. Still. Simple. I stood in front of it, but this time I did not look at my face first. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath, and I asked myself a question I had never asked before. Who am I when no one is watching me? When I opened my eyes, I did not see anything new in the mirror, but something inside me had changed. I remembered a moment from my childhood, before the city, before the beauty obsession, before the judgments. I was different. I used to talk to everyone. I used to smile easily. I used to help people without thinking about how they looked or what they wore. That version of me felt real, and suddenly I felt something warm in my chest. Not pride, not regret, but awareness. I realized something important. I had not always been this person who judges others. I had learned it, slowly, from attention, from praise, from believing that appearance was power. And if I had learned it, maybe I could unlearn it too. I opened my eyes again and looked into the mirror. This time, I did not feel afraid. I felt honest. For the first time, I whispered to myself, I don't want to be like this anymore. The room felt still, and in that stillness, I made a quiet decision. When I returned to the city, I would not live the same way. I would try, not to be perfect, but to be kinder, to notice people I used to ignore, to listen instead of judge, to see beyond appearance. A few days later, it was time for me to leave. My grandmother stood at the door as I was getting ready. She smiled at me softly. You look different, she said. I smiled back, but it was not the same smile I used to give in the city. It is because I am starting to see differently, I replied. She nodded, as if she already knew this would happen. Before I left, I looked at the mirror one last time. It was still the same old mirror, but I was not the same person anymore, and for the first time, I understood something very clearly. The mirror was not the real change. It only showed me what was already inside me. When I returned to the city, everything looked the same. The buildings, the people, the noise. But I was not the same. I started noticing things I had ignored before. A cleaner smiling while working, a stranger helping someone carry bags, a colleague who was always quiet but kind. And slowly, I began to speak differently. I smiled more, I judged less. I listened more carefully. People noticed the change in me. At first, they were surprised. Then they started trusting me more, and something unexpected happened. I began to feel more connected to people, not because I was more beautiful, but because I was more real. Over time, I understood the truth my grandmother never forced me to see. True beauty is not what others see first. It is what they feel when you treat them with kindness. And now I finally believe it, not because someone told me, but because I lived it. Now it's time to learn some useful vocabulary from today's story. Judgment means forming a quick opinion about someone without knowing them well. Example: I stopped making judgment about people too quickly. Empathy means understanding and sharing the feelings of others. Example: She showed empathy when she listened to my story. Appearance means how someone or something looks on the outside. Example: appearance is not the most important thing. Character means the inner qualities of a person, like kindness and honesty. Example: her character is more important than beauty. Realization means suddenly understanding something clearly. Example: I had a realization about my behavior. Now let's do some shadowing practice. I used to judge people quickly. I did not see their true value. I looked only at appearance. But I started to change. I want to be kinder every day. I am learning to see differently. True beauty comes from within. I am not the same person anymore. Thank you for watching Read and Learn English. Have you ever judged someone too quickly? What changed your way of thinking about people? Do you believe inner beauty is more important than appearance? Write your answers in the comments. Keep practicing your English every day and keep growing step by step. See you in the next story.